The time is at hand.
From the land of crackheads and honey, this is In Dark Places. I'm doing a little experiment this week. It's for the greater good. And if you're listening to this, you're a part of the experiment. Ain't that cool? I think so. I'm trying to get the YouTube algorithm machine to kind of fire up. So I have some ghost stories for you. You're going to get to hear these before all those guys on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. So it's pretty neat. My friend's older brother was quite a bit older than us. So after he left for college, his room became the guest room, but didn't get used by many people outside of myself. I had spent many nights in that room, so I was familiar with the layout of the furniture. After a night of staying up playing some video games, I headed to the guest room to sleep. I closed the door behind me and crawled under the covers. I wasn't particularly tired, but tired enough to fall asleep anyway. After what I assume was 20 minutes or so go by, I hear a loud screeching noise right next to my head. I jumped awake, turned on the lights, and saw that the wooden nightstand had moved a good 2 or 3 feet away from the bed. The bedroom door was still closed, and due to the age of the house, I would have heard if the door opened or closed. There were rings on the ground from where the nightstand had been sitting too, so I know I didn't just imagine it. Had that not been one of the many times I had experienced something like that there, I likely would have just brushed it off. I'm fairly certain that this was the last time I had stayed there before we both left for college as well. Still freaks me out a bit to this day. I was convinced my house, an old, shabby, built in 1926 house, in college was haunted, and 3 instances stand out. 1. I was at the house for spring break by myself, as I had sprained my ankle and couldn't go anywhere. Our house was a bit older, so there was a driveway along the side of the house that went to a garage out back. One night, as I was hobbling to go to the side door on the driveway side to throw out some recycling, someone sped past me on a bicycle, easily going 30 miles an hour. It was maybe 40 feet from the door to the garage and back, and there was no road behind it. Nobody else was home on the block either. Number 2. My roommate's girlfriend was calling out to have a conversation with my roommate. She was in his room, which was in the back of the house next to the bathroom. She was trying to tell him a story and swore to this day that she saw him and another figure walk into the bathroom. Once he responded, he was in the kitchen at the front of the house the entire time, and she was in hysterics because she was sure she saw him walk into the bathroom. Number 3. I stayed overnight once and had moved out. I remember sleeping on the couch and waking up to the feeling of a figure hovering over me and choking me, with my windpipe tightening and being unable to move. I've heard this sounds a lot like sleep paralysis, but it still creeped me out. And I'm going to argue about sleep paralysis. Not everything can be sleep paralysis. Sometimes there's demons out there. Okay, end of rant. We had about a half a dozen other creepy instances of just an eerie feeling in the room, motion lights that never worked, turning on suddenly, things going missing, and sounds of things falling to no result. I loved living there, but it still gives me the creeps. About 9 or 10 years ago, I worked in retail. I started at 6 a.m. and ended around 2 p.m. My parents worked until 4 or 5 p.m. My sister was hours away at school, so I always had the house alone to myself for a couple hours each day after work. I came home from work in the afternoon, like always, and started going to the bathroom with the door open, as my usual. My house had a laundry room connected to a garage. You would enter the laundry room, then open another door to lead to the garage. Typical house layout. The door to the garage from the laundry room was really heavy, squeaked really loud, and made a heavy thud when you closed it. It wasn't a very stealthy door. So I was in the bathroom when I heard the door open and slam closed. I spotted the bathroom door closed, so one of my parents wouldn't see me, and then heard footsteps on the wooden floor. It sounded like they led to the living room, which had carpet. Then it died out. I figured one of my parents got off work early and walked to the couch to take a seat, so I called out to say hello, and nobody answered. I figured they didn't hear me, so I finished up my business and walked into the living room to say hello. There was nobody there. I checked the driveway, and the only car parked there was mine. I checked the family room, kitchen, office, their bedroom, the patio, the garage, etc., etc. There wasn't a soul in sight. It made no sense. My house at the time creaked, groaned, and made noises left and right. It was a home burglar's worst nightmare. Couple that in with the fact that I lived there my entire life at the time. I was 20 when this happened, and I knew every minute things that could make a noise in that house. There wasn't a soul to be seen, yet there was, very clearly, someone or something entering that house. I asked my parents about it that day after it happened, and both of them said they had been at work all day long. It never happened again, but good Lord, was I shooketh when it did happen. And that's the end of my little YouTube experiment. Thanks for participating. I appreciate you. And I'll see you right here again next time. God bless.